For 2 years, I worked as an Uber driver in a mid-sized city in the United States. I started the job after losing my office position during a round of layoffs. Driving people around was not glamorous, but it paid my rent and gave me control over my hours. I also had one rule. I only accepted rides from women. I canceled every other request. Some passengers complained about it online, but I did not care. Late nights and strangers in the back seat can go wrong very quickly. I decided early that I would not take that risk. Most nights were simple. Pick someone up from a bar, drive them home, listen to short conversations about work or relationships, then move on to the next ride. The app kept everything organized. Name, location, rating. I followed the map and avoided trouble. The ride that destroyed my life started like any other. A request appeared on my phone from a passenger named Elsa. The rating was good. Pickup location was a quiet apartment street not far from downtown. I accepted the ride without thinking much about it. The street was calm when I arrived. I parked near the curb and waited. A woman stood near the building entrance. She checked her phone, then looked at my car. Before she could move, a man walked up behind her. He leaned down and he kissed her quickly. She did not look pleased. Her shoulders were tense and she kept glancing at the car. The man opened the back door and climbed inside instead of her. The woman stayed on the sidewalk. She crossed her arms and watched him sit down. Sorry about this. My phone died earlier. She ordered the ride for me. Hope that's okay. That kind of situation happened sometimes.
I preferred female passengers, but the ride had already started, and he seemed friendly enough. Just add a note in the app next time, that's all.
He nodded and thanked me. His voice was calm. Nothing about him stood out. I started driving toward the destination on the map. A few minutes into the ride, the man leaned forward slightly. Actually, I need to change the trip. I forgot something at my place. Can we stop there first? That happened all the time. Passengers adjusted destinations during rides. I told him to update it in the app. He picked up his phone and tapped the screen. A moment later, the map changed. While the navigation recalculated, I noticed something that did not make sense. He had told me his phone battery was dead, yet he was using it now without any problem. I kept driving, but the thought stayed in my head. The first destination was only 5 minutes away. Before we reached it, the road became quiet. No traffic, no pedestrians, just apartment buildings and closed storefronts. I slowed the car and stopped at the address the app showed. For a few seconds, nobody spoke. The man in the back seat looked out the window like he was waiting for someone. The passenger door suddenly opened. Another man stepped into the car and sat beside him. The first man no longer looked friendly. His face went blank. He stopped smiling and leaned back into the seat. I tried to keep my voice steady.
I thought you were picking something up.
No answer.
That was the stop, right?
The new passenger closed the door slowly. Drive to the second destination. His voice was quiet and flat. The map updated again. I looked at it for a second. The route was heading toward the edge of the city. I drove for 10 minutes before speaking again.
This area isn't a normal drop-off zone. I don't feel comfortable going out there. I'm ending the trip.
The car rolled to a slow stop on the road. For a moment, nothing happened. Then one of them grabbed my hair from behind and pulled my head backward. My neck bent against the seat. I could not see clearly. My hands tightened around the steering wheel. Cold metal pressed against my throat. It was a knife. The second man leaned close to my ear. Keep driving. His voice did not rise. He spoke like someone giving a simple instruction. Quiet. Straight ahead. My heart started pounding so hard that my vision blurred for a moment. The man holding my hair did not pull harder. He just kept my head tilted back enough to remind me he could. No one else spoke. I started driving again. The next 20 minutes were silent. Both men sat behind me, watching every movement. I could see them in the mirror. They never looked away. No conversation, no instructions, just steady staring. I gripped the wheel and followed the map while the city lights disappeared behind us. Soon, the road turned narrow. Empty land surrounded us. No houses nearby. I started crying before we even reached the location.
Please, I won't report anything. Just let me go.
Neither man reacted. The map announced the destination. I stopped the car. For 1 second, I considered stepping on the gas and turning the vehicle around. Instead, I opened the door and ran. That was another mistake. My legs barely carried me 3 steps. Someone tackled me from the side. The third man knocked the air out of my chest when he slammed into me. We both crashed into the dirt beside the road, and I lost control of my breath. Before I could even roll away, the other two were already on top of me. One of them grabbed my jacket and dragged me a short distance, while the others began kicking my ribs and my legs. The blows came fast and methodical. They were not yelling or threatening me. They were simply doing it. I tried to crawl away, but someone grabbed my ankle and pulled me back. Another kick landed in my side and forced the air out of my lungs again. I rolled onto my back and raised my arms to block my face. One of them shoved a cloth into my mouth and tied it tight behind my head. I could barely breathe through it. My wrists were pulled behind me and tied together with rope that burned my skin when I struggled. They lifted me by my arms and shoulders and carried me back to the car. I could hear the gravel crunching under their shoes while my feet dragged behind. The back door opened and they threw me against the seat like a bag. My head hit the opposite door and everything went dark for a moment. The last thing I saw before losing consciousness was one of them sliding into the driver's seat. When I woke up again, I was sitting on a cold floor in a basement. My wrists were tied to a metal pipe behind me and my ankles were bound as well. A single light bulb hung from the ceiling and it barely lit the room. On a small table nearby, there was a plastic bottle of water, a piece of stale bread, and a cheap calendar. That calendar became the only thing that allowed me to understand how much time was passing. Life in that basement followed a pattern that never really changed. One of the men came downstairs once or twice a day. Sometimes he brought food, sometimes he did not. Sometimes he untied me and forced me to stand before pushing me against the wall and hitting me until I collapsed again. They rarely spoke while doing it. The silence made everything worse because I never knew when the next visit would happen. The calendar slowly filled with marks that I scratched into it with a loose piece of metal I found near the wall. At first, I counted every day. Later, I only counted weeks. My body became weaker each month. Walking a few steps across the room made my legs shake. My ribs healed badly after repeated injuries, and breathing deeply started to hurt all the time. Almost 3 years passed before anything changed. One morning, I woke up on the floor and could barely lift my head. My body was exhausted, and my vision kept fading in and out. While I lay there, I heard several voices upstairs and loud footsteps moving through the house. The basement door burst open a few minutes later, and police officers rushed down the stairs with flashlights pointed directly at me. Hands quickly cut the rope from my wrists, and someone wrapped a blanket around my shoulders, while others searched the room. I could hear radios and urgent voices filling the space that had been silent for years. Later, they told me the house had been discovered during an investigation connected to one of the men. The 3 of them were arrested that same day, and the officers who found me said I was only hours away from dying. The rescue did not end the damage those years caused. I spent months in hospitals recovering from injuries, infections, and severe malnutrition. Doctors had to repair broken bones and to treat scars that had never healed correctly. Walking without help took a long time to relearn because my body had become too weak to support itself. When I finally left the hospital, life outside felt unfamiliar. Loud noises made my body react instantly, and I could not stay in crowded places for long. The idea of driving again became impossible. Every time I sat in the driver's seat of a car, my hands started shaking and my chest tightened until I had to step outside and breathe. Eventually, the doctors recommended long-term psychiatric treatment. They said the trauma had gone too deep to handle alone. That is where I am now. The facility is quiet and controlled, and the staff asks me to describe what happened whenever my memories become overwhelming. So I tell the story again from the beginning. The ride request from a woman named Elsa. The boyfriend who entered the car instead. The second passenger waiting at the first stop. The road that led out of the city, and the moment when everything changed. Every time I finish telling it, the room becomes quiet for a few seconds. The doctors usually ask the same questions after listening to the entire story. Why those men chose me? After everything that happened in that basement, I still do not know the answer.